Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 196 of the Massenomics podcast, the lifting podcast about nothing. Today's show is brought to you by Lifting Large. Lifting Large is your one-stop online shop for powerlifters, strongmen, Highland Games athletes, CrossFit athletes, and anyone that lifts iron. Visit liftinglarge.com today. There's free shipping on any orders over $60, and 99% of those orders are shipped the very same day that they are placed. Today's episode is also brought to you by Spud Inc. The goal of Spud Inc. straps is to make products that support sports performance and help everyone achieve their training goals. They make products that last forever, won't bust your budget, and most importantly, they leave no doubt about success when everything is on the line. Check them out online at spud-inc-straps.com. This episode is also brought to you by Hybrid Performance Method. They're your one-stop shop for all things fitness and online coaching. Whether your goals are training-related, nutrition and body composition-related, or both, Hybrid has a program for you. With dedicated and experienced coaches in each strength and fitness discipline, you can rest assured that you're in the best hands possible. Use our code MASS, M-A-S-S, in all caps for 5% off any training or nutrition membership for the life of your membership. Visit hybridperformancemethod.com. This is episode 196. I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Tanner, and over here's the other co-host.
My name is Tommy. What's up?
Not too much. We're doing a little podcasting trickery here. Actually, we're recording things in different times.
Quentin Tarantino style. We're breaking up the timelines. The future is the past is the present. It's all.
So this will be coming out that second week in January. So we're living in the 2020 right now.
This is the future.
Yeah. Man. This is what all those sci-fi
flying
movies
cars
are
finally here.
2020 is the year that we get that stuff, right?
I think so. I think Elon Musk cracks the code this year.
Do you think there'll ever be flying cars? Is that something that we're even working towards?
I believe that the way I understand it, like with anything we have with modern technology, I don't think that's an option, just with the amount of like noise they generate and all that stuff. Like unless you're doing something that's using it can't use blades, like a helicopter, because that generates too much noise. Like that's been ruled out, I believe.
And also, generally speaking, mostly everyone can drive. Can everyone be a pilot?
Well, I would assume at that point it's just computer systems are taking over completely. But yeah, I don't know. It's still weird.
Yeah, we haven't really moved towards having that I'm aware of the technology that things fly, like hovering vehicles aren't going to be.
Yeah, it's still science
blades,
is not there yet. It's just not.
It's still blades and jet engines and.
If people would have stormed Area 51, maybe we would have found out what was going on, and we could have got some new technology. But
we are moving towards just, it's happening. The driverless cars, though, for sure.
Oh yeah,
that's.
I mean, that essentially is a thing.
Yeah,
now.
Right. It's just not fully widespread yet.
Yeah, and to varying levels. But I'm all on board with that. I'd love to be able to get, especially where we live. Where we live, it's 3 hours minimum to get somewhere.
Especially if it's made in a way that it means you get to take a nap.
And when I say 3 hours, I mean that's 3 hours with absolutely no traffic. That's 3 hours going just hundreds of miles.
Yeah, right.
And I would love to be able to all right, we're going to whatever place that is. You just hit the button and you do your thing. Whether
watch a movie.
Yeah, watch a movie, do stuff on your laptop or your phone, sleep. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be.
We were just talking how this holiday season we're both going to be doing some traveling.
Yeah.
And that would make the holiday traveling so awesome to hop in the car and be like, all right, here's some quality time together where we're not worried about anything regarding road conditions or traveling or any of that stuff.
It's tough for it really to take over. Well, I mean, not everyone has to be doing it though, I suppose. But for it to work best, probably everyone has to be doing it though, right?
It is. I think the idea behind it is that in a perfect world, if everyone is on a driverless car,
right, then
at that point you almost don't even need stoplights because all the cars communicate, so they just know when to go and when not to go.
But there's people that are never going to want to take away like.
And I don't know. I'm sure people have thought about this way more than what we are right now because we're coming up with these questions a minute in. But Yeah, there's always good. It's the same thing. There's still cars. You can still like see people that have like what Model T cars,
right.
and there's always going to be collectors of old cars. Like that's never going to go away. Whether the rules change at some point, so like those cars aren't allowed on the general road with everyone else.
That's
I
the
don't know.
part that seems so hard for it to ever really like for that to be allowed, or for enough people to get behind it for that to be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could see it happening like a state trying
It
it
seems like a
first.
thing California would do, right?
Yeah. Well, and what about We'll find out.
Yeah.
That's what we are moving to though now that we're in 2020.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that. It'll be in our lifetimes for sure, Tanner. It won't be too far.
I would
away.
think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's on the other side of the decade.
That's true. Like we are just finishing this decade. It's funny to think what it'll be like in 2030.
Yeah.
The
world is a very different place now than 2010 already.
Right.
Like that is the social media thing alone is so. That was such a different landscape 10 years ago.
But this is also what we covered a little bit in episode 195.
Yeah. Yeah.
In our last episode
You're
that
right,
we haven't
yes.
recorded yet.
In our episodes out of time here. So yeah, we don't need to talk about that too much, but
Right.
yeah, we'll go on and on. Or we did go on and on about that Tanner,
last week.
Yeah.
That you guys listened to that we haven't recorded yet.
So what do we want to talk about today, Tanner?
Well, we've got a list of topics.
This is the first one of the year. This is how we're starting 2020.
That's true. We came out of 19 with a bang, so we have to go into 20 with a bang too. I would think, right?
Bang bang, yeah. That's how we do it,
So we've got a lot of good stuff, of course. I mean, you wouldn't come to this podcast at this point in time if you didn't know we had so much good stuff coming.
And you know what? Actually, before we even get too far, I forget we should discuss delicious beverages. As we do at the beginning of all podcasts. So this is of utmost importance, Tanner. I cannot have you looking at the can this week.
Okay.
This is key. You cannot be looking at the can. So eyes up.
Okay. Like don't look downward. You're saying, okay. But I still have to talk.
Like as in, do not look below your shoulders.
Okay.
Okay. Here you go.
Try to make sure I'm still talking into the microphone.
And
Notice
this
the
is
different feel of the
this
can.
is already the feel. So this is our first what's in the can segment of 2020.
Oh. So this is a segment.
This is a segment.
This is a real test.
I'm making
day.
you guess this one.
Okay.
Sometimes I go easy on Tanner.
Yeah.
I don't make him
Since
guess.
I
But
almost have a 0% accuracy on this game.
I'm not trying to. Well, let's get you have the first sip here. See what the first idea is.
Well, it's almost cheating in a way that this is a sparkling water, of course. Mm-hmm. But the shape of this can.
Well, it's sparkling, and it has a sparkling water flavor. The first thing, I feel like because the flavor is so different, is it alcohol or non-alcohol?
I would say not alcohol.
Okay.
Like it's just a shade away from what one of these would taste like if it's alcoholic, though. There's like very minimum difference in some of these when they have alcohol. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure it does not have alcohol, but I better take another taste just to make sure that
Tanner, for all this is heavy amounts of alcohol, and you're going to end this podcast like drunk.
No, it's not alcoholic. I think we're dealing with a fancy LaCroix. I don't even know what the technical term of those are, but the LaCroix that are in the taller, skinnier can, unless it's a different brand that I wouldn't know the name of anyways. Not bubbly because they're in a regular can. So I'm going to say it's one of the fancy LaCroix with the that have the
accent marks.
Yeah, the accent marks over the flavors.
Okay.
But so that's what we're dealing with. But the real question is the flavor then, right?
Mm-hmm. It's what everyone wants to know. What are we tasting?
I could be completely wrong, but there's one flavor that is coming to my mind.
Okay.
And it's strawberry. But I might be. But are those cans usually like a double flavor thing? Is what I'm thinking now.
I'm not well versed in the tall cans, so I can't tell you that answer for sure, Tanner.
Oh boy, I can't pick out a second flavor if it was, but I'm getting a strawberry. Is that right or not?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look for you here. So far, you are correct, Tanner.
And is there a second flavor?
There is a second flavor.
I don't think I
there
can taste
is
the
a second flavor. It is the mystery. I'm surprised you got this one because I think I would have picked up the other flavor. Would have been my first one I would have picked up.
I'm thinking maybe it's like lemon or I don't know. I guess it doesn't really taste it, but it almost kind of tastes like maybe there's lemon or something like that. But lemon strawberry doesn't sound right.
Are you ready?
What about what is strawberry? Strawberry lime. I don't know if they'd make maybe lime. Strawberry lime is what I'll say. I still don't think that sounds good, but
It is pineapple strawberry.
oh, okay.
And this is the
I don't really know if I taste the pineapple though.
this
But
is
I guess I
the
do.
I don't even know how you say it. Pina Fraise. It's the tall can underneath in small letters pineapple strawberry, which I found much more relatable when I was trying to pick these things out.
Yeah, because if LaCroix isn't fancy enough already, they have to have a little bit fancier.
Yeah, you gotta keep riding that wave of elitism on this. This is my first tall can experience, Tanner. I've never had a tall can before.
What do you think?
They all do, at least at Walmart, they all do 2 flavors. I don't know if that's like a tall can thing. Is there always 2 flavors?
That was in the back of my mind. I don't know if it is a fact or not, but I was thinking that.
A lot of the ones listed, there was like some cherry ones. I'm not a huge cherry guy, so I stayed away from those. There was a couple other. This one seemed like the most obvious one, but when I was trying this, if I had to compare this to something else, I might be wrong here, but to me, it almost tasted like a Red Bull of sorts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it have that flavor a little bit?
Yep, it does.
So
I do taste that a little bit. I wouldn't have thought of that.
that's what I thought of right away when I first drank it. I'm like, this
Yeah.
reminds me of Red Bull.
Yep.
And I didn't know if I was just going crazy or if there's some validity to that.
I kind of that spoils it a little bit for me now that if I think about Red Bull,
That's
I'm
what
like,
I told
do
my
not-
wife.
Yeah,
She took like 2 sips and goes, "Oh, this isn't too bad." And I go, "It really reminds me of Red Bull." And she goes, "Wow, you just ruined this for me."
That's
And
kind of
she
what it's
didn't-
like
then
too.
She
where I'm
wouldn't
like,
drink it anymore.
like it makes me feel like I am drinking a Red Bull, which would kind of disgust me a little bit right now. So,
Well, I might have did that for you
because
too,
I also
Tanner.
associate Red Bull usually. I mean, as far as my life is concerned, it would be with an alcohol.
Yeah.
Like I never just drink a Red Bull.
No,
Although
it's
I
been-
do see people
it's been
do it.
Many years since I've done that. Like many years.
Ryan Anderson at the gym.
That was his
that's,
go-to.
That's what he drinks for
That was
energy
his
drinks.
caffeine.
Is Red Bull.
His caffeine method of choice was Red Bull. Yeah. So we started 2020 with the tall can, Tanner. You know,
This is going to be a fancy year for us.
I was gonna
isn't
say,
it?
just going into fancier and fancier territory.
Yeah. 0 calories, still 0 sweeteners. I like
Yep.
that.
I
Zero
don't
sodium.
understand the and like this. It says, what is it? Carante. I can't even read the words on here.
That's how they want it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what the tall cans are because
I
the
don't know
flavor's
what
already
that
on the
word-
top.
I don't know what that word even is right there. It's kirate.
Karate, yes, karate.
Yeah, these ones are so fancy. Like this is what.
I almost feel like an imposter drinking this.
Well, it's kind of like you drink LaCroix and you make fun of people that aren't as fancy and don't drink LaCroix, but at a certain point, that's not enough. Like you need to make fun of the people that
you
just
need to
drink
be
the Lake
more
Ro-
elite.
Yeah.
And they did that. They built the audience.
Yes.
You know, it's like we made the lift shorts, and for most people, it's
For a while,
completely
yeah.
unattainable. But
Yeah.
some people are overachievers, so
We
we had
needed
to
a second
set
level.
the bar even higher. That's where the
Yes.
lift shorts 2.0 came in.
That's a
Is
perfect
to really
parallel.
differentiate
Yeah.
the elite from the super elite, and that's what we did.
We made them more expensive, a little bit fancier.
That's
They're
status.
kind of
symbol.
like you're going out shorts. You
Yeah,
know?
that's exactly what it is. All right, so we got these tasty beverages going. We're kicking off 2020 with a bang.
Yeah.
We need to talk about maybe the most exciting thing anyone could ever talk about, and that's sleeping, Tanner. And you are going to be our resident expert at the moment,
I do know a thing or two about the study of sleep now. I've
and
lived it.
or the lack of
Yes,
it,
or
right?
the lack thereof. At least the study is brought on by the lack thereof. So I did a sleep study, or a sleep study was performed on me. I'm not sure what the correct way to really look at that is, but I would say I went into the hospital and a sleep study was conducted with me as the patient.
You were partaking in a sleep study, and you were not observing. You were-
Right. I was supposed to be sleeping. So actually, and to back up slightly, I have, I never feel all that rested, and I feel like anymore, I don't even know what's normal. I don't know if I just feel, sometimes I'm like, do I just feel like what everyone feels like? Or do I feel, am I really more tired than what everyone is? And I'm like,
Yeah, and so
everyone's probably tired. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on what I think is probably like the crux of the problem for a lot of people is like some people are just so chronically tired they don't even know what is or isn't tired anymore.
Right.
I don't think I can relate to what you're saying very well because I get routinely 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
And most of those nights I sleep the entire way through. I might wake up once at like 3:30 to pee, or like I might cough and I just need a sip of water.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm like out.
What about even just like waking up and like rolling over that you remember? Does that happen a few times or not really?
Occasionally, but a lot of times, I mean, I know I do move in my sleep, but a lot of times, I mean, I lay down, I'm sleeping within 5 minutes. I wake up and it's morning time, and I go, all right.
What do you feel like it when you wake up?
I'm always like I've started doing this thing lately where I probably go to bed. You know, I'm at a spot where my wife and I don't have kids.
Yeah.
You know, we have a dog that
that doesn't help.
Well, yes, and so that's going to all play into your equation.
Yeah.
But like, you know, speaking from my experience, we don't have kids. We have a dog that completely is like, all right, we're going to bed, cool.
Yeah.
And my wife is pregnant right now, so she's like, she just wants to sleep. You know, so it's like, all right, I go to bed at like 10 o'clock, and I wake up and it's like 6 or 6:30, and I'm tired and it's morning. And here the thing that I don't like is, you know, we live in the north where it's black. It's pitch black outside until like 8 o'clock.
Right, yeah.
So that doesn't help the getting up part. But I get up, take a shower, and by that point I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm up for the day. I'm not oh, I'm so tired. Like I'm not dying. You know, your body's waking up. But it's probably the least exciting and boring sleep story, but that's mine. And it's probably because it's, I think, somewhat optimal.
Right. I would think so. And like, mine varies. It depends, but a pretty common way is I would go to bed at like 9:30 at night. A lot of times I am just dead tired by then. Actually, to even go a little farther, maybe my wife and I would sit down and watch TV at like 8:30, and I sit in my reclining chair. I really struggle to make it through like 20 minutes of even a show I like. Like we're watching The Sopranos right now.
Oh yeah.
And we'll get like 15 minutes in and I'm asleep. So I basically cannot watch television.
Consciousness is just gone. It's not an option.
Yeah. And it's also it's not like I fall asleep and I'm like, oh, I'm asleep for that. It's just kind of like I'm, you know, like so drowsy.
You're just not there.
Right. So then I'll go to bed at 9:30, give or take. That would as an average night. And I usually fall asleep okay. Most nights I would fall asleep okay because I'm so tired at that point. And then, so I would maybe fall asleep by like in between 9 and 10. Then I'll wake up at midnight or 1 and not be able to get back to, and then kind of be awake for like an hour. And then or maybe 2 hours on a worse night. And then I'll fall back asleep for a while before the morning and I'll be wake up. And then I'll wake up. And I get up at 6. So what's 9 to 6? 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 9 hours. But I usually miss probably like 2 hours in the middle of it. So I'm still getting 7 hours of sleep. So my hours
you
of
also
sleep,
have kids too.
Yeah.
So that's the variable that a lot of people.
If our 1-year-old is sick, it can completely change it where you have to get up like 4 times throughout the night. And that's just what it could be like for anyone. But that's none of that. What I'm talking about is really what the sleep study is for, checking. You know, it's like not how much it feels like you're asleep for the night or anything like that, because I'm probably getting enough hours of sleep most of the time, I would think, or at least a reasonable number of hours of sleep. But so then I wake up in the morning and I don't know if I've ever woken up and been like,
let's do this.
But then I'm like, does anyone feel like that ever? You know, I don't know if that's what people really feel like. And that's the tough part. And you can only relate to you can only compare to yourself.
It is really like, that's what, you know, you have family members. I feel like it's like a parent thing. Like parents, I just feel like I know like my parents, other people's parents, they're like, oh yeah, we get up at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Like that's
what my
and
parents
I can't
were
figure out like, is it just that's when your body wakes up and you're like, all right, let's do this, I guess? Or is it like, I'm ready to go?
Right.
And I don't know, because for me, the same thing. When I wake up at 6, it's never like, all right, like but I don't think anyone wakes
Really
up like that
feels
though.
like that.
Does
Yeah.
anyone?
I don't. Yeah,
It's hard to say.
And are you talking in the first 10 seconds or the first 10 minutes, or
Yeah.
it's all a little bit different there. But I think the how tired you feel, I kind of relate that to pain. You can't feel how painful something is for someone else.
Yes, that is a
you
good
only
comparison.
can relate it to what it really
Yep.
feels like to you. So if someone asked me like when I tore my ACL, how painful that was, I'm like, honestly, that didn't really, like, the actual tearing of the ACL didn't really hurt. Like 2 days after surgery, that was painful. But like some people, I've seen them tear their ACL and it's obviously apparent that it hurts. It's painful.
Yeah, those things are. Yeah, they're all just so relative.
Yeah.
It's like your mileage can just vary so much based on your experiences
Right.
too. Like you can wake up tired in the morning, and if your job is like being a physical laborer, that day's probably gonna really suck.
Yeah.
But if you just go to an office and you don't, depending on what you have going on that day, you might be tired, but
Yeah.
like it's not like your life is ending, and that's where it can vary a lot too.
Right,
It's
right.
What do your energy levels need to be for the day to get through a day?
Right. And I guess the short of that part of it is I genuinely feel pretty tired during the day. If I drive by myself for over 30 minutes, I have a really hard time of falling asleep. And
It's
part
like-
of that is
It's like Michael Scott on The Office. Oh,
just
what's he saying?
zonked out there for like, or, yeah.
Oh, I just woke up. He
Yeah.
has his sunglasses on.
Right. And I do, but I've always kind of, if I get in a vehicle and there's, we're not chatting or whatever, it's pretty easy for me to fall asleep in a vehicle. But that's like road hypnosis too, or something like that people get also, where
Is
like,
there an actual
yeah,
word
where
for
like
that?
driving in a vehicle can put them to sleep. But like when we drove to the Arnold, God, we drove for hours and hours, and I wasn't sleepy then because there was someone else. We were talking and everything, but
And we're just running on pure adrenaline for a week straight.
yes, pretty much.
The fight or flight response was in full effect.
Yeah. But I just feel generally tired, and that's led me to want to check into the sleep study thing. I know a lot of people that lift, they have sleep apnea. When you get bigger, the bigger around your neck is a common indicator of how much more likely you are to have sleep apnea issues. I know I have some snoring issues. It's not necessarily tied to sleep apnea, but they're also not mutually exclusive, I don't think either. But I know the snoring, my wife says I snore. But do you snore? Like, do most men snore? Does anyone not snore ever?
I know for a fact I used to snore more than I do now.
Okay.
My wife, because we talked about your sleep study a
Yeah,
little bit a couple
yeah.
weeks ago, and my wife and I were discussing, and she's like, I feel like you used to snore a lot more, and I'm sleeping, so I don't know
Yeah,
what I'm doing.
right,
I was
right.
never to the point of like my snoring waking me up or anything, but I don't have any recollection of snoring recent, and she's like,
Yeah.
I can't even really think of you doing that lately either. So
Yeah.
I have lost some weight recently too.
Well, that's why I wonder
maybe
if
that
maybe that-
changed some
yeah.
things, and
I think it does. I think that makes it, like, it's pretty easy that almost always that makes some sort of difference, right? The body weight.
I think it's
Brace-
one
yeah.
of the primary things.
Yeah. And also, so I wanted to pursue the sleep study thing, and also with the way health insurance works, it was an optimal time of the year for me to look into that, where it's going to be of a minimal additional cost to myself. So they first set you up, at least the way my insurance worked, they want you to do this at-home sleep study thing first because it's a lot cheaper for them. So what that is
And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the insurance companies,
right?
right?
Yes, exactly. Not our health.
If you have any doubts about
Yeah.
anything health-wise, remember, it's what's
about the
optimal for the
insurance
insurance
companies. Yes,
company,
exactly.
not you as a person.
For sure. So you go into the hospital and they set you up with this equipment. They give it to you and they tell you this is very expensive. Please return it and don't break it.
Don't like throw it in a bathtub or
Yeah. And what it is it's something that straps around your chest, like a monitor that's here, something that straps around your abdomen, and it's a monitor there. You wear a finger, I would say like one of those things that checks your pulse is kind of what I assume is what it is. And then you wear a tiny little tube that kind of goes into your nose and checks your breathing. And that attaches to the thing on your chest. So it's not all that intrusive. At the time, I thought it was a little bit, but that's all I had known at that point in time was this at-home one. But relatively speaking, it is not all that intrusive. But, so I did that. When you get up in the morning, you have to fill out your questionnaire of, how do you think you slept? How many hours did you sleep? How good was your sleep? Was this comparable to your normal sleep, better or worse, all that? I am quite sure that night that I did not fall asleep. I was in bed and ready to go with it by 10 p.m. and I got out of bed at 6 p.m. and I don't think I ever
So were you doing
slept.
this to like prove a point? Like, I don't need to sleep?
No. I very much, it was more of like, I lay down and like, 10 o'clock. I'll be just fine. If I fall asleep here pretty soon, I'll be just fine.
So were you just like that uncomfortable with the things on, or was it just like the idea of like, I'm kind of being monitored right now?
Yeah, all of it. It was a little bit of uncomfortable with wearing the stuff, but it was more so my mind not being able to shut off, where I just kept thinking like, how is this going to go? Am I, and then all of a sudden it's midnight, and then it's like, well, if I don't fall asleep soon now, does the test even work? How many hours does the test have? How
many times do I got to do this stupid thing?
Right,
if I mess it up?
right. And then like just that inability for everyone's had that at times, I think, where you're trying to sleep and you almost sit there and and then you're like, okay, no more thinking about what that thing I'm thinking about. Like I'm done thinking about it. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh no, I'm thinking about it again.
Yep. That's, if I don't sleep, that is the number one culprit right there, is I start thinking about like work things where I'm like, oh, okay, wow, if I do this, all right, do I have the time to do this? If I do this and this, and then you start going there, it's like, okay, I need to think about something else. Oh, let's think about money while I'm trying to sleep. It's like, by no means in financial distress. I mean, we saw the lift shorts, so it should be obvious right there.
We should be good.
But it's like, let's just start doing mental math in my head. And I'm like,
that
I'm
happens.
like, why
all
am
the
I?
time.
And like, pretty soon, I'm like, I'm in like this weird hypnotic state of like crunching numbers. I'm not good at math, anyways. If I'm awake, I would do this with a calculator and then be like, well, okay, we can look at this another time.
And you almost have to like snap yourself out of it.
Yeah, it's like your brain just starts going into like this dark spiral. And that is, if I don't sleep, that is the number one reason. It's just my brain hits the spot where it's like, let's think about stuff that we don't...
you can't do anything about
that you can't do anything about. And if you were awake and in the morning, you'd be like, well, there's no point even thinking about this.
Right, yeah.
And that's what you just start to go in like the state of paranoia. And then you wake up and it's daytime. You're like, wow, what was I doing last night? Those are all non-issues.
It's so true. I bet like everyone experiences that, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like, you always see the meme. It's like trying to... our like brain trying to sleep. Let's think about that embarrassing thing that happened 10 years ago. It's like, that stuff, and you can't shake it. Something about nighttime, your brain does weird stuff.
It does. It really does. So the short of that is, yes, they agreed that the test they were not able to make any conclusions because I barely slept whatsoever. And I had an event it's called an event if you have a sleep apnea event throughout the night. And that's how they kind of measure what degree of sleep apnea you have, is how many events you have, how often or how severe they are. But I had such a small sample size. They said like I kind of had like the minimum number of events over a period of time, but my sleep was so non-existent that they couldn't say from that test that I have sleep apnea.
So then they said to be continued.
They said to be continued,
We
and I
cannot
was like,
crack the
shit.
code.
Great.
So before we get there, Tanner, let's read ads.
Okay.
So we'll do the ads, and then we'll jump into part two. Cracking the sleep
rest
code.
of the story.
All right. Today's episode of the Massenomics podcast is brought to you by Spud Inc. and the Axle wrist straps. Measuring in at 30 inches in length, no axle bar is too girthy or thick for these straps. Built from our incredibly strong woven nylon, you won't be able to blame these straps when you miss a lift in front of all of your used-to-be friends. Designed with strongmen in mind, the Axle wrist straps are built from our signature woven nylon to give you the best hold possible and guarantee that they'll pull through in competition. Their straps are backed by a lifetime warranty, and you can get custom strap lengths if you need to. You can do that by either calling or emailing Spud Inc., and they'll get you set up with whatever length you need. Check out the Axle wrist straps from Spud Inc. online at spud-inc-straps.com.
I do have those too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought you did have them. Yeah. Because you start doing strongman things, you need that extra length, don't you?
I've used them for axle deadlifting in strongman events. They work. I can quite honestly say that those work very well. Those are really heavy duty too. Those are like the kind of straps that are
beefy. I couldn't remember if that's what those ones were.
They're not going to be the ones that where you see they break.
No, I don't think it would be possible to break. They're just too thick to break.
Right. Yes, definitely.
This episode is also brought to you by Hybrid Performance Method. If you've been training without a coach and have been looking for a competitive edge, remember to check out hybridperformancemethod.com. Hybrid has 15 different strength and fitness programs covering everything from powerlifting and strongmen to gymnastics and general fitness, all included in one training membership. That's not all. Hybrid also offers one-on-one personalized nutrition coaching that uses lifestyle habits and a flexible approach to shape your nutrition plan around your current lifestyle, instead of turning your lifestyle upside down in order to support unsustainable habits that only work in the short run the way most programs do. If you're ready to take your training, nutrition, or both to the next level, use code MASS in all caps for 5% off all memberships for the life of your membership. And today's show is also brought to you by Lifting Large. Lifting Large is your one-stop online shop for powerlifters, strongmen, Highland Game athletes, CrossFit athletes, and anyone that lifts iron. They have over 2,100 training tools from the top brands like Titan Support Systems, ER Equipment, Spud Inc., Skull Smash, ProLock Collars, Kabuki Strength, Texas Bars, Pioneer Belts, and more than 15 other manufacturers. Lifting Large has been serving strength athletes around the world through their online store for over 15 years. Owners Mike and Teal Ottoman have over 55 years of experience competing in powerlifting, strongman, and Highland Games. They hold multiple world and American records, so you can rest assured knowing the products they carry are the very best in the industry. Visit liftinglarge.com today. There is free shipping on any orders over $60, and 99% of orders are shipped the same day they are placed. Listeners of the Massenomics podcast can save 20% on Lifting Large branded items. Just use discount code MASS20 at checkout. That's MASS20 at checkout to save 20% on Lifting Large branded items. Place your orders at liftinglarge.com today, and you can follow them on Instagram at liftinglarge.com. That's liftinglarge.com. Thank you to our sponsors.
All right. And I was thinking we didn't give this our
JD Power.
What's in the can, our number of JD Power and Associates awards out of
This
5.
one is probably a 3.5 for me.
I was going to give it a 2.5 or a 3. it's not my favorite. After you said the Red Bull thing, it tastes too much like Red Bull.
I put this one above Key Lime, which is probably my least favorite liqueur I've ever had.
It also doesn't fit nicely inside our Massenomics.
It doesn't
koozies.
fit. We don't have the skinny cans because we're all about things being bigger here. So, yeah, that is a con.
Yeah.
When you're developing the list of pros and cons.
Yeah, that's like a half a star. That costs it like half a star to me.
Half a JD
So
Power. Award.
half a JD Power and Associate Award. So I'm going to give it 2.5. It would have been a 3, but it goes to 2.5 because of the can.
Yeah, you know what? I should recalibrate. I give too many things 3.5. This does get a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
back to sleeping.
Yeah. So they said I had to do the in-hospital sleep study, which I wasn't really against because I'm like if we're going to figure out the sleep,
let's get the experts on this thing.
Let's do
don't
the
send me
full
home
Monty.
with the B rate items.
Right, exactly. So that was about a week ago that I did the test, maybe a little less than a week now. I guess it was earlier this last week. Mm-hmm. Went in, and so you go into a hospital, and they set you up with your own room. It's not a hospital. It is a hospital room because it's a room in a hospital, but it's not your exact hospital room. It's like this creepy thing they set up that's like almost like a hotel room inside the hospital.
And this will vary wildly by where your place is. It just happened to be that the hospital that in our city, this was the setup that they had.
Yes. I'm just speaking from purely my one experience here. And
you didn't go to the sleep institute for people that can't sleep very good and want to sleep better. Like it was just like, this is a hospital, and we have a small portion of it that tries to take care of these problems.
Yep. So you're in the room. There's a camera in there, so they watch you via the camera. They're not in the room with you, and they're not looking.
Perfect. I sleep great when I know someone's recording me on camera.
And I wasn't sure beforehand if they were going to be like on the other side of a piece of glass watching you too, like which have been
just like
weirder.
a lab rat.
Yeah.
They're back there with a clipboard, just writing notes the whole time while you're sleeping.
Right. No, but they do watch you through the camera, and they let you know that, and they have a speaker right there by your bed where they talk to you if they need to, but. The prep for it probably takes 45 minutes where they paste all of these wires to you. I probably had, throughout my head and neck, probably about 10 wires that they use like a paste that is malleable until it gets in place, and they get the diode there. And then
so it's like they just have like this putty on your head.
Yes. Yes. And in your hair. Like for you, like they have to do it like in certain spots in your head too. So they have to like pull apart your hair and like they like exfoliate the skin right there and scrub it, and then they get the paste in there and get the diodes on, and then they have to hook some up to your legs and those. Also, I don't wear pants and a shirt when I sleep normally. But when like the 30-year-old lady at the sleep lab is like setting all this stuff up for you for an hour, it'd be pretty awkward to be sitting there in your underpants.
Yeah, just while she's tending to you.
So she even asked, she's like, are you going to wear your shirt? And I said, normally I wouldn't, but like, I feel like I'm just going to tonight is what I said. And so I just wore my shirt, and it doesn't help make me sleep better. Of course, it's another thing that's just out of the ordinary. But so all this stuff is hooked up to you, to your legs. You're wearing the thing on your finger again, which normally when you just have to go to the hospital and they put that on there, it's not that bad. It's for a minute.
Yep.
When you wear that for 8 hours, it becomes pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, anything out of the ordinary for 8 hours
Yes.
tends to be uncomfortable.
Right, you wear that, and all these wires. You kind of get like a braid of wires out of the back of your head, and it all hooks up to this. I would call it. It's kind of like our podcast.
Our podcast mixing board.
Only the wires are smaller, the board is smaller, and then that all feeds into their machine. So then they go back and you lay down and do these tests. They say move your lay down with your eyes closed and breathe out of your mouth. Lay down there with your eyes closed and breathe out of your nose. Roll your eyes from left to right. You do all these things, and they're making sure that
we
these
are
things
inside your brain.
Right. They're making sure these things work.
Do you have? So is it just the stuff glued to you, or do you have anything like around your chest?
Also, yeah, something around your chest.
Okay, so that's probably like measuring like respiratory things,
and something around your abdomen again, and then also tubes into your nostrils.
Yeah.
Really small tubes, not like a big.
but still, it's something's in your nose.
Yes, and around your ears and in your nose, and then you get laid down there, and they don't tell you can't move, but you really can't move because you're
not going to be just rolling around, and it doesn't make sense.
Sometimes you put your like one arm up or like underneath you. You can't do any of that. You kind of have to lay there pretty like a.
Are you a back sleeper or a side sleeper, or?
I sleep on my back or my side, never my stomach. I don't know how those.
I don't
those
know
people
how
do that.
anyone does that. That is, I remember being in college. I had a friend that would talk about sleeping on his stomach, and I literally thought he was joking. I didn't know that was actually a thing.
Yeah.
Because I used to, when I'd wake up in the morning, I didn't want to fall back asleep, I'd roll over to my stomach because that's so uncomfortable. You're not going to fall asleep that way.
Yeah.
I am still shocked to this day that people sleep
there's
like
some
that.
psychopaths out there that do that.
But I also almost always sleep flat on my back, and a lot of people seem to think that's crazy
also,
too.
Yeah. I lay on my side. I fall asleep on my side quite a bit, but this I could kind of lay on my side, but I was nervous about it. Like I didn't want things to come unplugged and then to have to come back in there and then to be a bad test and all of that. So I'm kind of thinking about all that stuff. I did sleep better at this than I did at the at-home one. I fell asleep and probably it took me a while to fall asleep, but I did fall asleep in a decent amount of time, and I slept until like 2 or 3. And then I woke up at 3 and I was like, oh no, I am not getting back to bed. Like I was like awake. And I laid there probably for an hour and a half or something like that. And I did eventually fall back asleep, got out of there. They don't find out you don't get the results for 7 to 10 days until the actual sleep doctor looks over your results. So I really, to be continued.
Oh, so you still haven't got the full result?
Yeah, I still actually haven't gotten the full results. So to be continued a little bit.
There's holidays and stuff going on. It could maybe extend out to a month or something.
And also there's an issue of, the first thing she said when she came in at 5:30 in the morning after this another pretty crappy night of sleep was like, well, I don't know if there was certainly some events there. It did take you a very long time to get into your REM sleep, but once you were in REM sleep, we did notice there was a decent amount of events. Maybe you'll have to do it again. And I was like, are you? No, I'd be like, don't just casually throw around. Maybe I'll have to do it again when you don't know. Like
you don't say that.
You don't know what that's doing to me, saying that I might have to do it again. So I don't know yet. But that's, I guess, the technician what she noticed was that it took me a long time to get into REM sleep. When I was in REM sleep, there was events. There really wasn't events prior to that. But she said the occurrence of events wasn't severe. It wasn't like off the charts of something they'd never seen before. So
do you know then, looking at possible outcomes, are the outcomes either going to be like you either do or don't need a CPAP and like that's about it, or is there other possible things they could tell you?
Yeah, the other one that they talked about was that's the big one for sure.
Yep.
Is the CPAP. That's the big, whether you look at it negative or positive of needing it or whatever. But at this point, I look at the CPAP as a positive. It's like, can this help me sleep better? That sounds great. Like if it's going to make me feel more recovered, I would be all for it. But the other thing they talked about is sometimes people just, they don't need a CPAP. They just need oxygen.
Oh.
Like the CPAP is like forced pressure.
Okay.
I believe. And I don't know how.
Yeah, because there is, because like the hoses
it's
have that.
Right. And there's actual, like, there's suction to the mask. If you pull it off, it's like, but some people just need oxygen sometimes, she said too. So that is possible.
Okay, I didn't know that was part of it.
That happens for some people.
So in that case, that would just be something as simple as like hoses or.
But you have to have the oxygen tanks then. Like,
Yeah. Wow.
So I don't know, or maybe they'll say. No.
You just feel how everyone else does.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that could very well be the outcome. And I'd be like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. I guess it's good. I don't really know.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the turnout of this is then.
Yeah, to be continued. That's about. I'm kind of just really curious, waiting to find out. And it is almost the end of 2019 as we're recording this. Mm-hmm. Insurance runs off of like calendar years.
Yeah.
So I'm also waiting to see how that plays out. Of if they're like, well, maybe you do need to do one more test, and I might be like, well, too bad, it's 2020 now.
We'll see what happens in 2020.
Yeah,
I might
right.
come back to you.
We'll
on
see
that
if
one.
I hit our deductible again. Maybe I'll be back here, in August of 2020 when we hit our deductible again.
Yeah.
Or maybe we won't, and maybe I won't be back here. I'll just suffer not knowing.
I'll just have to limp through this, like all the Americans do.
And isn't that so funny that? And she made the very comment that I asked how many they have per night and that sort of thing. And she said, right now we're really busy because everyone is trying to get this taken care of before the end of the year when their deductible starts over again. I know. I'm like, the whole system runs around
just insurance companies screwing you over.
Yeah. And people trying to maybe screw the insurance company over, or, back and forth, or not screw the insurance company over, but you have to like game the insurance.
Oh, you do your whole health, your well-being for the most part.
Yeah.
If it's not life-threatening, depends on where am I at in my calendar year.
Yes.
Assuming you don't have just unlimited money that you don't care about stuff.
Right. And I have no idea I'm not even going to pretend to think that I know what the fix for like our healthcare system would be. And I wouldn't even want to have the conversation with someone for the most part.
Because it's a super political topic now.
Yes. But I just do know that it is pretty screwed up. I can honestly say that, but I have no.
I think that is the one thing. I think everyone can agree on that. I think so. I don't think anyone says
it's almost like beyond screwed up.
Yeah, I don't think anyone says like, oh, health insurance is awesome right now. I think I think it's a majority will say, yeah, this thing doesn't work. But then it's like, well, what is optimal? And people seem to that is a political question as to what is optimal. Optimal seems like, if I have something wrong with me, I should be able to get it looked at and not be just charged out of my ass to look at something. But that already like goes against some people listening right now. That for some reason will probably go against their political beliefs, which seems crazy.
Right.
Like,
and the other thing is, people shouldn't get to feel like I've met my deductible. Now Let's get go free nuts. Run of the whole system. But that is how it is. And that's what you have to do, because you're like, well, screw it. You screwed me the last 4 years. Like this year, we're gonna get you back, and like we're gonna go to the doctor for everything, and someone else is paying for it.
Yeah, like I know. Looking ahead to 2020, we will be having a baby.
Oh yeah,
I'm assuming that means the hospital at a certain point is going to turn into free almost.
Yeah, it does. It will.
So that's something for me to keep in mind for the new year.
It is, and you will, and you'll be like, oh, okay, we'll go to the doctor. We don't care. It's not costing us anything. And and I don't blame anyone for thinking that way, because I personally do the exact same thing. But I'm saying that the system is like that that's a problem.
It seems like a problem.
Yeah. Yes.
Like maybe if the prices were just more normal, then we would all just go when we need to.
Right. Yes, I agree. But also there again, I don't know how to. I wouldn't.
Well, I don't think we said anything that's out of line. It was just like, all right, if something's wrong, it seems like should be able to get it fixed
Yeah.
or at least looked at and not like just be totally raked over the coals. But
Right.
that's not the case in this day and age. We'll see how this ages in 2030, like we
yeah,
talked about.
maybe this next decade is the.
Maybe they'll be like, "Oh man, you thought health insurance was expensive in 2020? Just
You guys are gonna be able to afford
just
to be
wait till
alive."
you see what they do to you in
Yeah.
the next 10 years.
Yeah.
You never know.
No, it's very possible.
Wow. All right. So that is to be continued. Then,
Yeah, to be
Tanner.
continued. When we follow it up, it'll probably be much less in depth, but we'll touch on what I found out. I suppose some people might be interested in. I'm sure there's people out there that have thought about themselves about
There's probably
getting a sleep
several
study
people
done.
listening that have done them. Even.
Yeah. Oh, I guarantee it. And a lot of people I've talked to have said, just based on the lifting and size and stuff, that everyone's like, oh yeah, you're going to end up needing to have a CPAP machine. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And I've talked to some guys that love theirs, that say they feel so much better after having that.
The people that we've talked to about it, it sounds like it's like, well, once you get used to it, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
It's just
the
the pain of
getting used to
traveling and getting used to it,
wearing a
and-
mask on your face while you sleep or in your nose. Yeah, but I would not dread that whatsoever. If they said you needed,
you
to
could
wa-
handle.
They
That
said
little bit
if
of
you
sacrifice.
wear a CPAP, you will have more recovering sleep. I'd be like, sign me up.
Yeah,
I'll go through a
let's
month
do
of
this.
not enjoying wearing this thing to get towards the end goal there,
Yep.
I'm almost more worried about them saying, no, you're good.
Don't even need oxygen. Actually, everything's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I was like,
suck.
God, what is... Just going to have to make up a different problem then.
Invent something new
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm excited to see what the final outcome of this is, Tanner.
Yes, me
And I'm
too.
sure all the listeners are going to be anxiously awaiting
And
what the diagnosis
So
is.
that's our episode on sleep.
That is everything we know
We'll
about sleep.
have Stan on next week
Yes,
to go in a little more.
Tell us about rice and hamburger and beef broth and sleep and walking. All essentials.
10-minute walk.
We are actually, Tanner, getting down there on time.
Okay. Do we want to do overrated,
We
underrated?
should
or-
probably jump into that.
Okay. We don't get to review last week's because we really.
Oh yeah,
our
we
weird,
are. We are.
We're
out
all
of time.
we're actually way.
Yeah, we
off
are out of
whack on
time.
that.
So yeah, we can't do that one. So
Yeah.
people will just not know how things turned out for a while.
And you're just going to have to follow that along directly on Instagram in order to know the results of last week's. But this week's topics, more importantly, got to make sure I'm on the right. I got a lot of weeks of topics here to make sure. Okay, so our topics.
People
for this
don't
week-
realize, but overrated, underrated is planned out for the next 4 years already. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
set in stone. Nothing can be changed.
No. Hopefully, there's no new technologies or anything that come out in the next 4 years because they're not getting
crazy
into
current events that
No,
we need to
no.
chime in on.
topic number 1 on overrated or underrated. We're going to go with. I'm thinking. So this is episode 196 because there's
Yep.
1 or 2 topics in here that have some
That
make
have to
sense.
build off of-
Okay, so no. I'm going to go overrated or underrated. Topic number 1: Nest thermostats.
Nest thermostats.
Have we had?
So
I don't believe it's been on overrated.
I don't
underrated.
think we have
Yeah.
talked. I don't think we have talked about this.
Okay.
To me, Nest thermostats, it's part of a bigger thing, and that is the smart home automations. Right now, I may be a little on the paranoid side, but I just have a hard time letting Google and Amazon into my home, into the level they want to be. I also think that I think it is becoming more and more of a thing, but I think the public is going to be more aware in the coming years of the massive privacy violations and rights that you're not allowed to through companies like Facebook, through companies like Google, through companies like Amazon. Like they are at the point where they almost make their money taking everything they can possibly know about you. And that's why I'm just super hesitant to have Alexa devices in my home.
Yeah.
Google devices in my home. Like anything that listens to me, I'm just on edge about having that. And part of that is now looking at what some of those devices are. The Nest thermostat. It's by Google owns Nest. So it's a Google device. It's chiming into that, or it's connected into that whole system. And I think those things I don't have them, so I can't say from experience, but I think they all integrate with Alexa, things like that too.
Right,
so you're
right,
not
right,
stuck on just
yeah.
Google, but Google is without a doubt collecting data about how tons and tons of people heat their homes and what times you could say theoretically, all right, it's not unrealistic to think that your home has a number in their database.
Yep.
Your home number 1,278,000, whatever it is.
Yep.
And it's not unrealistic to think that if they wanted to, they could go in and say, all right, home number whatever. We see that they heat it from this time of the day to this time of the day. They don't heat it this time. Someone could logically draw the conclusions of we know when you're in your house.
Yeah.
And someone might say, well, you could also do that by driving by someone's house and seeing when the lights are on. I will, yes, but the person sitting in their office in California can't do that. They
Right,
actually have to be driving by your
yeah.
house. And I just don't like where we're going with
Yeah.
a few big companies essentially owning everything that you
all the information.
just owning everything
Yeah.
that's one argument.
Literally,
They literally
yeah,
own everything.
yeah. But then knowing everything you,
knowing
puts a-
everything about you. You know, people like to come cry and complain about the government knowing too much. It kind of be like, they're the government.
Yeah,
That is
right.
what they do.
Right, yeah.
These private companies having like unlimited, like saying things. And this starts to even go into the bigger conversation now. I've seen a lot of people posting about stuff like this on Instagram. Is Instagram having like this fake news, like warning on things popping up now?
Okay.
I haven't seen it. I think it's like a feature they're rolling out or it's
Okay.
coming soon. And some people are like, on the surface, it sounds great. You know, Instagram is not allowing fake news to be out there.
Right.
Yes, that sounds like a great thing. But now it's turning into Facebook and these companies, they're determining also what news is. And
Right.
you might say, well, but it's just the facts. But we also live in a day and age where it's not just the
not that
facts.
black and
There
white,
is a
really,
spin to
yeah.
everything. And when these companies are based out of Silicon Valley in California,
Right.
it's not hard to say that they tend to have a more liberal bias. If you have liberal beliefs, that's probably perfect.
Yeah.
But if you're more of a conservative person, that's maybe cause for alarm.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, I don't care, I'm liberal. But the scary thing of that is, well, what's stopping our next company from coming around that has a conservative bias and
Yeah.
doing the same thing? And it's like,
Right.
I don't think that's the world where anyone wants to live in, is where a private organization gets to filter
that power.
what they think is okay for you to see.
Right.
And that is kind of a scary thing. Now I'm really going off into talking from Nest thermostats.
So I can tell you're gonna say that they're very underrated.
But the thing that is nice about them is that, yeah, it does give you some control. You can,
Yeah.
but also it is kind of a fancy, programmable thermostat is.
That's not new,
Not
yeah,
complicated.
right.
Really, you're getting a thermostat that gives you some options that you can control remotely.
Right. Right.
This one happens to be made and manufactured under like a Google arm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're overrated. I think
you
Nest,
don't have one.
I
You've
do
never
not
had
have one. I don't have one.
either. Yeah.
I can see the benefit of having a thermostat you can control remotely, but I don't want Google that into my life. Google already.
Is it that much more beneficial than one that you can just program? More of a analog programming.
So I've heard the argument of some people say things about like rentals. Like if you have a rental
okay.
property that's
Yeah.
maybe not in your town
Right.
or
That
not
makes
not a
sense.
convenient one to get to, I could be like, okay, maybe then.
Also,
and,
then you don't care as much about
and then
the whole rest
also
of
the
things.
privacy thing
Yeah.
doesn't really matter because
Yeah.
it's like, well, all right, it's
Ain't
just
me.
other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could understand that a little bit more in those situations. But as far as my housing is concerned, I do believe that Nest is overrated.
Okay. Overrated or underrated Lucky Charms cereal? To switch gears just ever so
They're
slightly.
always after me, Lucky Charms.
To reference Austin Powers again.
Yes, I would actually the cereal category in general, I think is really pretty overrated. I think it's pretty agreed upon now that for the most part, it's bad dietary advice to just start your day with a huge bowl of carbs. Yeah,
Sugary cereal.
and those carbs mostly in the form of processed sugars. So
Marshmallows.
yeah, like you're basically starting your day with a bowl of candy. That really is what
Yeah,
you're doing,
right.
and it's a big marketing ploy. Like to ever think that was
Yeah.
a way that it was legit to ever start your breakfast.
Right.
Lucky Charms are overrated.
I think didn't they make for a while one that was just the marshmallows too, like a Lucky Charms with
Probably it wouldn't
which
surprise
is just
me.
a bowl of marshmallows. and-
Yeah, it's just it's candy. It really is. It's just sugary, puffy, dried, dehydrated marshmallows.
Overrated or underrated? I don't know if we've done it before. It doesn't matter. Overrated or underrated? Trap bar deadlifts.
I don't think we've done it before. I think it's underrated. anything unless you're actually competing to do competitive deadlifts. Why does the bar matter?
Right.
You could also say, why does deadlifting even matter? What picking up things from the ground is important, I think, in a training, but how that's done, there's 1,000 different ways to do it. And it's not just
a standard barbell in front of your legs, 10 inches off the ground.
We know that the optimal way is a standard barbell between your legs. Like that's already been
obviously
well documented by us. But trap bar deadlift, I think they're just fine. Where it gets overrated is people saying, well, I can deadlift 600 pounds.
It's like
on that trap bar. It's like, well, okay, it's not an apples to apples comparison here.
Right.
Some people, especially people that aren't super in the gym,
powerlifting
in with the gym. I don't want to say culture, but just understanding the environment of powerlifting in the gym and all those things. Some people, I think, it's because the trap bar is usually the easier one to do for most people.
Yeah.
So they like to use that number interchangeably. It's like the same thing, like, I leg pressed 500 pounds.
Right. It's like, well, that's not squatting.
Okay, you can maybe squat 225. I don't know. It doesn't stack up. But I think trap bar deadlifting is underrated. People like to maybe give it a bad rep because it's not deadlifting.
Right, right.
And I don't think it's a legit way to build muscle and strength. Mm-hmm. So it's underrated.
Underrated on the trap bar deadlifts. Overrated or underrated Bailey's Irish cream.
Wow.
The last topic of the day.
Really have to do some thinking here. I have Bailey's Irish cream maybe a couple times a year, and many years it's probably 0 times a year.
Is it a holiday thing or not really?
Yeah. Well, 2 holidays. I feel like Christmas and St. Patrick's Day are the times that Bailey's their sales have to just go like straight up for like a couple of weeks every year.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're like, well, guys, there's nothing we can do.
We're getting ready for that next year. Yeah.
Let's just prepare for the next cycle because no one's buying Bailey's in July.
Yeah.
That's not a thing. But outside of like an Irish car bomb, I don't drink Bailey's. All right, we need Bailey's, Jameson, and a Guinness, and we're going to chug it all in as quick amount of time as possible. Mm-hmm. So I'm not enjoying it. I'm not like sipping and like getting the taste for it.
Is it a liqueur?
Yeah, which Irish cream is like a category. There's different companies that make like Irish, like an Irish. I don't know if Irish cream is the technical word for it, but that like Irish liqueur. There's different companies that do that. Bailey's is just the best at branding and marketing themselves. Right. Bailey's, I'm still probably going to say overrated. I think it's probably still overrated.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's an essential piece to any liquor cabinet.
Seems like it's around quite a bit, though.
It is, yeah.
You don't really see people drinking it. They just have it.
It just ties into those 2 holidays. Like, those are 2 holidays.
Like, it's still there from St. Patrick's Day.
Like drinking, getting people together at Christmas time. Drinks usually are involved in some point. And St. Patrick's Day, that is a holiday that exists for abusing alcohol.
Yeah.
At least in current times, that seems to be what it's for. So I think Bailey's is probably overrated.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That is going to bring us to a close to a close on 196. Make sure to check out our store. We haven't talked about our store all that much today. At this point in time, you would be able to get the new Jefferson Deadlift T-shirt. If we still have any left, the Jefferson Deadlift League JDLT.
The sizing is probably picked over, so if they see something that's going to work for you, you're going to want to get it.
By now, we've probably we picked our winners and stuff, but we can't officially announce them now because in real life we haven't picked out those winners yet.
Yep, we're out of time.
By the time you're hearing this, the winners will have been announced through the gram, and we should have the shirt itself for sale for those that didn't win.
So if you want to follow up and see what the actual winners are, make sure to check us out on Instagram.
Yes, exactly. We do have the Crispy Boys banner that's in stock now that we've started to ship some of those out.
Already sending some of those out.
Yeah. So that would be our newest stuff. And then all your favorites are still there. So check out the store, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. And then we've got our ads here to cover one more time before we close out. Today's show was brought to you by Lifting Large. Lifting Large is your one-stop online shop for powerlifters, strongmen, Highland Games athletes, CrossFit athletes, and anyone that lifts iron. Visit liftinglarge.com today. There's free shipping on any orders over $60, and 99% of the orders are shipped the very same day that they are placed. Today's episode is also brought to you by Spud Inc. The goal of Spud Inc. Straps is to make products that support sports performance and help everyone achieve their training goals. They make products that last forever, won't bust your budget, and most importantly, leave no doubt about success when everything is on the line. Check them out online at spud-inc-straps.com. This episode is also brought to you by Hybrid Performance Method. They're your one-stop shop for all things fitness and online coaching. Whether your goals are training related, nutrition and body composition related, or both, Hybrid has a program for you. With dedicated and experienced coaches in each strength and fitness discipline, you can rest assured that you're in the best hands possible. Use our discount code MASS in all caps. That'll save you 5% off any training or nutrition membership for the life of your membership. Visit hybridperformancemethod.com. Thank you to our sponsors. We really appreciate having you on the show. Tommy, what's your Instagram handle?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
And you can, of course, make sure to follow the official Massenomics Instagram page at Massenomics. We'll catch you next time for 197.
See ya.